Hey guys, it's Quana back again with another movie review. Hope you guys are doing awesome. So, if you would have asked 4-year-old Quana what her favorite music group was, she would have answered with something like this: Lisa and Cult Jam, because that is one of the first music memories that I have, is riding in the car with my mom and singing Lost in Emotion and barely knowing what the lyrics meant, but was one of my all-time favorite groups when I was a kid. And I was very surprised, one, when I saw that Lisa Velez was on TikTok. I followed her immediately. And two, when she was getting her own biopic on Lifetime entitled Can You Feel the Beat? The Lisa Velez story, or the story of Lisa and Cult Jam. I have done my homework of this group over the years because, again, one of my favorite groups of all time. Mommy, I do want to steal that album from you. Please and thank you. You're not using it. The story of Lisa starts in Hell's Kitchen when she was a young girl of 14. They age her up for the movie, and she first gets discovered. The movie traces her discovery in a small teen club to forming a group to becoming a worldwide sensation, and some of the trials and tribulations along the way, including her battle with breast cancer and her victory over breast cancer. And so she not only got a chance to have a hand in making this movie, but she executive produced this movie, which is why when you go to look for a review of this movie, you're not going to find very many, because there was virtually no PR budget for this movie, which is really sad to say, because aside from Gloria Esteban, Lisa Velez, Lisa, and Cult Jam were the quintessential big Latin group out of America. I mean, yes, sure, you had groups like Menudo, but Lisa is who had crossover appeal, and she was, considered an R&B act, so maybe that's why she's not always categorized in that. But there definitely would not have been the crossover appeal of people like a Jennifer Lopez and a Selena if there had not been a Lisa. So first and foremost, I just have to share my love of her and the group themselves as musicians. I mean, all cried out, Lost in Emotion, Head to Toe, I Wonder If I Take You Home, Can You Feel the Beat? So many hit songs. So definitely not a one hit wonder whatsoever. But I was excited because I was going to get a chance to show one of my nieces this movie. And of course, she knows nothing about this group. She knows very little about old school 80s music. And so I was wanting to show her this and let her get a real feel for the music. And it was sad to see a couple of things about this movie that I think diminish it from being a really stellar biopic. First and foremost, very few of the songs play in their totality. And to me, for a good biopic, you need to have those hit bangers play all the way through. People are watching for the nostalgia of it. And it's one of the things I keep every time I watch a biopic. And I'm talking about ones in recent years that do a good job. I mean, it was a miniseries, but the New Edition story got it right in so many ways. But particularly because they were able to play songs in their totality. Now, we'll say where this movie does get things right is in the casting. Playing Lisa Velez in Can You Feel the Beat? The Lisa story is Jearnest Corchado. And she has an uncanny resemblance to a young Lisa Velez. And I think she captured her spirit really, really well. And I do think that they did a pretty good job capturing the other members of the band as well. You also have Lisa Velez actually playing her own mom in this movie, which I thought was a great touch. You also have Angie Martinez making an appearance. So the casting of the movie was pretty good. But the story elements lack a lot, leave a lot to be desired, especially for people who are even remotely familiar with the group. Because when you mention Lisa and Cult Jam, you first and foremost are also going to be mentioning Full Force. They made most of their songs with Full Force. Full Force is the group that is touted as kind of creating them, discovering them, writing most of their biggest hits. And so it is perplexing to me why they were left out of this film, even a small reference. And I can only imagine that perhaps there is some love loss and some beef with the members of the groups, perhaps with Lisa. Maybe something happened that she's just never spoken on. And I tried to do some digging to see if she's ever spoken on a fracture between them, and I haven't seen much at all. So I'm assuming that there was something with regards to money and limited pay. They create a character, a fictional character, who's kind of taking the role of like the collective band as their manager or their founder. But it definitely doesn't do it justice, because again, you know that Full Force was a key component to this group. Bow-Legged Lou, Paul Anthony, Be Fine, they're on so many songs, and their names are mentioned in a lot of the songs, especially a lot of the songs that appeared on Spanish Fly. So it was really confusing to me. I don't understand why they couldn't, at the bare minimum, just show them kind of discovering the group and saying that they were going to write for them. If they were going to leave out so many of the song elements and the video recording elements and things of that nature and not use those parts, I think that would have been fine. But I do think that there should have been a reference to them, and I don't understand why, and I can only imagine that it has to do with something with money. But it's sad, because if you were a fan of the group and you were a fan of the journey, then you know how much their sound even was somewhat depended upon Full Force, because that male and female voices kind of worked so well and created something that was new and different, and it really was what made the band special. Aside from that, the film really looks closely at Lisa's relationship with her manager and best friend Toni, who started out as a background singer for them. She had her own music career, and they have been friends and stayed together all of these years. And it really centers on that, which is kind of the untold story, because Toni was someone who was kind of in the background and not really someone who was a forward-facing member of the group that a lot of fans would recognize or know. So it focused a lot on that and a lot of the journey. The movie is short. It's under an hour and 30 minutes, which is also another reason why they don't get a chance to dive into much about the movie. We really don't get to see her go into remission from her cancer. We don't get to see her in her older years settle down and have a family. We don't get to find out how the group, which has never fully dissolved, but kind of has, like, we don't get to see the evolution of like the group and maybe like not becoming as popular and her going into a more domestic lifestyle because of her illness and things like that. It just kind of ends with the group still being successful and Toni and Lisa becoming a key components to each other's lives. And that's really where the movie ends off. And so for that, it's not a really great biopic. It's good to kind of have those memories stir back and like get people listening to the music again, and also just appreciating what Lisa gave, which I guess is one thing that you do want a biopic to do. But in terms of really capturing the essence of the group and being something that I think people will want to come back to again and again, this is not a movie that I'm going to be watching again and again, despite the fact that it has Bre-Z in there. And my niece was like, isn't that Coop from All American? I was like, yeah, that sure is. But aside from that, this isn't one of their better biopics. And it's so sad because Lifetime does a good job when they have funding backing it. Like the Clark Sisters was a really great biopic. And you got Angie Ellis Taylor as Maddie Clark. Like you can't get much better than that. That were heavy hitters playing those characters. They did songs full out. It was real singing that was going on. They were live singing in that movie. It wasn't just lip syncing. So to see Lifetime do movies like that, and then we get movies like this and the Aaliyah, because even the TLC movie, with Keke Palmer, and it was amazing. So I would like to see them get more backing. I don't know why Lisa didn't have more support, because as an executive producer on this, you can see through the interviews she's been doing, she's been the driving force of getting this movie out there. And for this to be the outcome. I mean, it's okay. It's okay. It's just, it's for someone who's familiar with the group and who knows a little bit about the group, it was a little bit lackluster. So it's not on my high list of movies to watch, but I will say if you're feeling very nostalgic for the 80s, check out Can You Feel the Beat? If nothing else, I guess just to support Lisa, because I do want to see people be able to tell their stories. It is so important, but I don't think it's something that people will go back to again and again, and that's kind of heartbreaking, because I love Lisa and Cult Jam. I really do. All right, guys, so let me know in the comments if you got a chance to watch the movie. What did you think? And if you were familiar with the group before this movie, let me know what you thought. Okay, for real. Be honest. Be honest. Okay, don't lie. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Until then, toodles.